Good morning and welcome to today's daily word of encouragement. Have you ever been in a situation where your faith has struggled? When we think about God and we ask the question, is God able? We know that God is able to do what is impossible to us. It's possible to God, right? We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God can do what God wants to do because God is God and there is no one like him. No one comes close to him. He is in a category all by himself. But our faith struggles because although we know that God is able, the question remains, is God willing? This comes from a place of lacking faith because we've been through situations in life that have caused insecurities. They've caused us to not feel worthy. It's those situations in life of experiencing rejection, of humiliation, of shame, of regret, of making mistakes and wishing we can turn back the hands of time. It's out of that we are birthing the question, God, are you even willing? And we know we have faith for other people, but we struggle for faith for ourselves because we don't know whether or not God is willing to bless our lives. So this morning I was reading out of Matthew chapter 8 about the man with leprosy who Jesus healed. Side note, if you haven't watched The Chosen, I highly recommend it. My husband and I have been binge watching it lately. We're late to the game, but it's amazing. And this story just, comes to life on video. But anyhow, in Matthew chapter 8, the man with leprosy, leprosy causes sores. You're considered unclean because you're so contagious. You have to stay away from others. And it's a big deal in the Jewish society because of the law of Moses and the things that God instructed, that if somebody is unclean, they are not allowed to be inside the camp, or they're not allowed to interact. And if you are clean, you are not to touch an unclean person or even come in contact with anything with them. And it kind of reminds me of this current virus that we're facing, right? You've got to isolate if you're unclean. And so if you had leprosy and you come around people, you're facing rejection daily, over and over again. Isolation, rejection, shame, mockery. Sometimes in our lives, we're like this man with leprosy. We're not just necessarily covered with sores like a leper, but we're covered with guilt. We're covered with shame. We're covered with regret. At times we're rejected, we're refused. And what happens is that we start to believe the lie that we are unworthy, that we are not worthy to be around others, or we are not worthy to receive God's blessings. And so I love what this leper does. He seeks out Jesus because he knows that he is able. But the question in verse 2 that the man asked Jesus, he says, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. You can make me clean is a statement of faith saying, I know, God, that you are able. But the question is, are you willing? Jesus responds in verse 3. He says, I am willing, be clean. At that moment, not only was this man cleansed of leprosy and the sores disappear and his body restored, but God at that moment, Jesus at that moment, when he told the man, I am willing, be clean, instantly the hope that had died, the potential and dreams that this man had for his life, all died when he had leprosy. Instantly, all of that hope and the potential and the purpose was resurrected. Listen, brothers and sisters, the question that you're asking God is, are you willing? Because I don't feel worthy. The answer for you today is the Lord is saying, yes, I am able and I'm willing to bless you. And God today wants to resurrect your hope. He wants to resurrect your worthiness, your security and your confidence in who you are in Him once again. God is saying, yes, I am able and I'm also willing. But listen, God doesn't speak to us in this day and age and not expect a response. So I believe God responds by saying, yes, I am able, and yes, I am willing. But the question is, are you willing? Because God is saying, I know that you're able to fulfill the purpose that I have for your life because I've already instilled in you all of the qualities and the experience you need to run your race. Yes, even the bad experiences. Yes, even the ones that we're ashamed of and we regret. They're all learning experiences. And so God is saying nothing in your life has gone to waste. Even the broken relationships, the dysfunctional situations, all of those things make you able, believe it or not. But are you willing? Are you willing to fulfill the purposes of God in your life? God is, I believe, setting us up for an amazing encounter with Him. We need a fresh encounter with Jesus. But the question is not about if God is willing and able. The question is, are you willing? Because He's already made you able. He's going to empower you with His Spirit. But He is asking right now, are you willing? And so I encourage you today to stand up courageously and boldly. As it's even stirred up in me, let's stand up and say, Lord, here I am, send me. I'm willing with my brokenness, with my wholeness, with my security and confidence, and also with my insecurities. I give it all to you and I'm willing. Be willing, brothers and sisters, because that's when the miracles begin to happen. If this man with leprosy stayed insecure and in the shadows, he would have ended his life. The rest of his days of his life, sick with no hope and no purpose. But that's not the case for us. We're going to be boldly like Him. And we're going to approach Jesus and say, I know you're able, but are you willing? And Jesus is going to respond, yes, I'm willing. Now go and be made whole. And now it's our turn to be willing to serve Him wholeheartedly and run our race. Be encouraged today. God is getting you ready. He's setting you and I up for a breakthrough and even to beyond breakthrough. He's going to use our lives for His glory, to expand His kingdom and to bless all of those around us. Be encouraged today. I love you. God bless you and have a blessed weekend.